to an episode of Warhammer 40,000, and we're fighting on the urban terrain here. It is Grey Knights back in their familiar surroundings, Imperial urban battlefield, and they will be facing, it's a rematch, it is against the Tyranids. The new force has evolved and they've gone out to hunt Grey Knights again, or is it the other way around, Grey Knights hunting Tyranids? But the two forces will clash here on this terrain. Plenty of ruins, crater in the centre there, abandoned Imperial weapons, and then a number of large ruins on this table. You can see the street lighting, barrels, some tank traps, one set here, one set there. Then a perimeter fence going on to an industrial area that's been bombed out, a lot of craters there, and then large stashes of ammunition. So that's the terrain. It's nice looking, nice bit of terrain here. Looking forward to fighting this one with the red Tyranids pouring across the table, and then the Grey Knights, who will blend in quite well with this terrain on a search and destroy mission. And then on the other side of the table, a great ruin here. There was once a great cathedral or palace, long since bombed into a big ruin, but there's the remnant of it, quite beautiful looking, all that golden fascias on the front there. So there it is, there's another corner of the building. It's nice height to the terrain here, some good blocking terrain, which should be good for the Tyranids. So we're going to go on to the scenario now, and we're going to look at the forces as well in this Challenge the Scorpion game. This 1850 points Challenge the Scorpion game. It is Tyranids against Ben's rampaging Grey Knights. So it's a newly evolved list here for the Tyranid force. I'm just going to run through it here. So it's Winged Hive Tyrant, he's the commander. Just wings, upgrade for him. And then there's one Morlock in heavy support. And then one Trigon, no upgrades for any of those. One Hive Crone, no upgrades, dual cannon, and 4 Tentaclids. 6 Raveners as a brood, and they are all armed with rending claws. And then for elites, 3 separate venom ropes, just to provide a bit of shrouded cover for the force. And then 2 troops choices, 1 Tervagon as a troops, no upgrades, and then 30 gaunts. And the Tervagon does actually have regenerate. Then the Children of Cryptus from the Deathstorm box sets, they are a troops choice, 8 Gene Stealers, Rending Claws, and then the nasty Broodlord there as well. And 2 Carnifexes, with one of them with Crushing Claws. So there's the Tyranid force. It's slightly bigger than the old one. The focus is on raw close combat fighting power, and then a shrouded protective layer over the force. We'll see how well it does. They were beaten by the Grey Knights on the last encounter, but this is a new force, new tactics. We'll see how well they do.
This is my 1850 Grey Knights list. My HQ is a librarian level 3. He has Psychic Shriek, Hallucination, and Invisibility and Shrouding on the telepathy table. A Vindicare Assassin. Lord of War Caldor Drago. He's level 3. He has Hammerhand, Banishment, Gates of Infinity, and Purge Soul. Terminators, 5-man Terminator squad, and they have Banishment and Hammerhand. Another 5-man Terminator squad with the same psychic powers, and a 5-man Paladin squad with Brotherhood Banner, Heavy Silencer, and a Demon Hammer. Nemesis Dreadnought with Gatling Silencer and Heavy Incinerator. There's Stormraven gunship with a Typhoon missile launcher, twin-linked las cannons, and extra armour. And another Dreadnought with Nemesis Great Sword with heavy Gatling silencer.
Right, so there's Ben's force. It is small, but that's what you'd expect from a Grey Knight force usually. There's no Land Raider here. He's gone for 2 units of Terminators. Paladins are in, and then 3 nasty characters there. Drago's in the force as well. Never come up against him before, but I know that he has a good reputation. So, tough one for the Tyranids here, but we may be able to overwhelm them. We'll have to see. Looking forward to this encounter. Right, so the scenario is big guns never tire. So there'll be there's 6 objectives on the table. One just here. One just there in the middle of the ground. There's one just there at the foot of the ruin. And then there is another one just in the centre of the crater here. There's one just downstairs here, if you can see it, it's just there. And then there's one other one just on top of the ruin over there. So 6 objectives, they're worth 3 points each. So you'll also get points for killing heavy supports. There's 4 heavies for the Tyranids, 2 Carnifexes, Trigon and Morlock, and then for Ben, the 2 Dreadknights are heavy supports as well. It's Dawn of War deployment. Grey Knights are going to be setting up 12 inches along here. And they're marked out by the grey dice. The Tyranids will be deploying 12 inches in here. And slightly the advantage with the objectives with the Tyranids. One just here, one just there. You can see it through the window. So there's some that are close to the Tyranid deployment zone, which is good. But Grey Knights and Tyranids are both armies that can move around the table quite well. So expect quite a bit of movement in this scenario. So we're going to go on to deployment. Ben will deploy first and go first, unless the Tyranids can steal the initiative. So we're going to go on to deployment now for these 2 forces. Alright, so deployment for the Tyranids. 30 gaunts here. They're being supported by the Tervagon, and then tucked in there is a Venom Thrope. And then just behind here, the Winged Hive Tyrant taking up position nicely behind the Great Cathedral building there. They've infiltrated the Children of Cryptus, just trailing back so they're within 6 inches of another Venom Thrope. Then the Raveners are there, another Venom Thrope just there, and then the 2 Carnifexes have deployed there. So the Tyranids, we know we're going to get picked off if we spread around, so we're sticking together. So if the Grey Knights want to come and get us, we'll all be clustered together. I think it's safety by sticking together. Deployment then for the Grey Knights is a Vindicar Assassin right on the corner of the building here. With he's infiltrated in. Nice sniper's view down the table. It's good positioning from Ben. Then on the left here, 1 unit of Grey Knight Terminators. Then in the centre, both the Dreadknights holding the middle. And then the Paladins and the Librarian and Drago all clustered together in between the building and the fence there, and then another unit of Grey Knights on the extreme right. So it's a general distribution here from Ben. He's spread out his forces to go after multiple objectives. So that's the deployment. We're going to go on to the first turn of the game, and then just in reserve, Ben's Storm Raven. And then for the Tyranids, the Trigon and Morlock will be deep striking, and the Hive Crone coming on from reserve. And just rolling up Psychic Powers here, got quite a good result. Onslaught, it's not bad for the Tervagon, but Warp Blast and Psychic Scream for the Winged Hive Tyrant. So he's quite well kitted out, and then Dominion and the Horror as standard for the Children of Cryptus. So it's going to be a fair amount of psychic stuff going on in this game. Both sides have a fair amount, but Ben certainly has the weight of the dice in his favour. So we're going to go on to the first turn of the game. The Tyranids do not want to steal the initiative, so Ben is going to go first here. Grey Knight turn 1 coming up. Right, so Ben's just moving here. Quite optimistic with the Tyranids. Well, maybe not. He started moving out, but I think we stand some chance. The force has moved on, perhaps a little bit wiser. We have played against Grey Knights before, but I knew he'd be aggressive, and he is. He's moving out here, so it's aggression shown from the Grey Knights straight away. Right, so Grey Knight movement on turn 1. Just shuffling forwards here with the Grey Knight squad on the left. Both of the Dread Knights have surged ahead so fast, and then armed with deadly weaponry there, so they're going to be a threat to the Tyranid force straight away. And then Drago and his paladins and the librarian are all moving forwards here, and then the Grey Knight Terminator shifting up on the right hand flank. So moving out here with all Grey Knight forces, what do? Do we avoid Drago or get him? We'll have to see. We'll have to see. So that's the movement phase done. Grey Knights on the move here. We're going to go on to the psychic phase now on turn 1. Right, it's just a psychic phase for the Grey Knights on turn 1. And his activated force here on this Dread Knight. He activated force there, but we denied it. We've got a 6. He only rolled 1 4+, thankfully. And then Drago, where's he gone? He's nowhere on the table. They tried to deep strike down here with his Gates of Infinity power and scattered off the table. Risky move. It was here and then scattered 7 inches off. So mishapped and has been delayed. So they're going to have to walk on again later. But that's an interesting result there. That's a lot of points suddenly off the table. And then both those Dread Knights sort of on their own. So we're going to go on to shooting phase now for the Grey Knights on turn 1. Right, shooting phase of the Grey Knights then on turn 1. These guys moving up. Vindicar Assassin firing down. Turbo Destructor shot straight through and dished out 3 wounds on the Tervagon here. Got caught in a crossfire. And then a vast amount of damage done from the Dread Knight here firing through. All the Genius Stealers are gone, and that was fire also coming through from the Terminators just ahead. So good shooting. Soul Blaze as well. So one wound taken on the Broodlord there, and he's on his own now, and he's on fire. So not good for them. The Children of Kryptos have been almost wiped out. But that marks the end of turn 1. It's been effective. Shooting phase has been very good. We're going to go on to Tyranid turn 1. Can they respond to this Grey Knight onslaught? Right, so Tyranid turn 1, and in response to that Vindicar Assassin firing down, he's range 48, so we've actually backed off 6, and we're just out of range now. That's about the only option we've got to try and stay alive. Can't take D3 wounds a turn. So backing off with the Tervagon, then just using the gaunts to crowd around the 3-point objective just there. You can see it in the window. And then we spawned 6 more gaunts, but all double ones, so that's the end of breeding. That shot really put off the Tervagon from breeding anymore. And then the Venomthrope just sticking there to give them the cover save. Both Carnifexes moving forwards. And then the Venomthrope moving up as well. The Spawn of Kryptos moving up whilst he's on fire. The other Venomthrope moving up as well. And then the Raveners with that 12-inch beast move, moving through the cover very, very fast. I'm desperately going to try and get them into combat with the lead Dragnite. Then the Winged Hive Tyrant, it was a tough decision, but we've taken to the air now. It moves up and over the ruin and going to try and let off some psychic powers. So that's the end of movement on turn 1. No reserves for either side turning up yet, but we'll see how the Tyranids cope now. We've got a chance to do some damage as we go into Psychic Phase for the Tyranids on turn 1. So we tried Psychic Phase on turn 1. We tried to cast Psychic Scream. We did with just 1 4+, and then Ben had 6 dice in response because Drago and all the others were off the table, but he managed to get a 6, so he's denied it, which is a shame. So no psychic stuff at all on turn 1 for the Tyranids, which is really annoying. So we're going to go on to shooting and assaults now on Tyranid turn 1. Right, so shooting phase for the Tyranids on turn 1. Not much really, just run moves mostly. A few gaunts fired through, didn't do any damage on the Drag Knight. 2 inches shuffled back here by the Venom Thrope and the Tervagon, so well out of range now, thankfully. The Carnifex is moving up 1 inch, and then the Venom Thrope's moving up here. 5 inches moved up by the Spawn Cryptus, and then this Venom Thrope here on the move as well. So going to go into assaults. The big roll so far in this battle report will be those Raveners. Can they make it in? Well, I reckon they should be able to make it with Beasts and Fleet as well, I believe, with Raveners. Yeah, so Beasts have Fleet here. We reckon 6 inches they'll be in for definite. So we're going to roll up, and 8 is the score. There's no minus for charging through cover, so we are in. It's Raveners versus Drag Knight. Right, so the Raveners have made it in. Ben killed one of the Raveners with the Flamer there, and then Soul Blaze on the rest of the unit. We've got to work that out at the end. If any of them survive, Ben's going to go first here. Raveners not slow by terrain, but they have gone through terrain to get there, so Ben's going to go first. And if the Raveners that survive, we'll try and rend him, but maybe we are a bit outclassed here. Right, so we're doing the combats here, and the way we worked it out, Ben's Drag Knight counts as 2 power fists, and it's not a Dreadnought, it's a monstrous creature, so initiative 1 for unwieldy. We went through cover, so we will drop our initiative as well. So we're going to fight simultaneously, we think that's fair. So Ben's going to go first. How many attacks, Ben?
4.
4 attacks, needing 4s to hit. So we want some nice 1s, 2s or 3s. Oh, 1 hit on a 4, and then a 2 to wound, but a 1, and the Tyranids can rejoice. Get a 1. 4. Right, one of the Raveners drops. But it could have been worse. Right, we'll strike back simultaneously. 3 attacks basic, 1 for the Talons, and then 1 for charging. That's 5 each. That's 25 attacks. We want a heap of 6s.
On weapons skill 4.
Gonna roll some dice here. 25 rolls. Oh, I wish I got them 6s on the wounds. It's not bad. There's a cocked dice. Okay.
And toughness 6.
It's toughness 6. So it's 6s to wound, 6s to rend. So just a bit above average, I think. We want 6 6s would be nice. Come on. 1. 1 save, please.
Oh, no, it's not.
So we lose the combat. We lost the whole model, but it's within Synapse range. So the melee is going to continue. 1 wound dealt out on the Drag Knight, and 4 more wounds to go. Alright, got some Soul Blazes to work out here before the turn ends, and then we'll try and regenerate here. 4+. Yes, we drop a wound. And just rolling on the Soul Blazes there, both the fires have gone out. So it's a little bit of good news for the Tyranids here, who really have taken a bashing on this first turn. So Grey Knight turn 2 coming up. We'll see if that Storm Raven turns up, and then Drago and his crowd. Right, moving for the Grey Knights on turn 2. It's all action again. Really, I'm starting to build up respect for this force that Ben has. They're a nasty army to fight against. Grey Knight Terminators moving up here, just fulfilling their mission after this objective here. Vindicator Assassin moving down, trying to get back into range against the Turvagon. He's moved out across here, ready to flame through against the Gaunts. The other one's locked in combat. And then around the other side, the other Grey Knight squad moving up. Paladins have turned up. Ben rolled a 3+, they've walked on Drago and the Librarian. So the full force now is on. Storm Ravens turned up as well to lend some air support. So it's bewildering, really. I just don't know how to cope with these Grey Knights. We're wondering how other forces will deal with them. We know the Dark Elder took a hammering twice, but we'll see how Ben does against the higher level armies on the channel. He may well work his way all the way to the very top. We'll have to see. We're going to go on to Psychic Phase now on turn 2 for the Grey Knights. Right, so Psychic Phase for Ben here. He's cast a whole pile of stuff. We haven't been able to stop it. Hammerhand and Force on this Dreadnought and on the other Dreadnought as well. Right, and then he's granted Shrouding and Force to this Grey Knight Terminator unit here. And then on the Paladins here, Ben got Force, Hammerhand, Invisibility, and then Gates of Infinity. So they have moved off and are now being put over the other side of the table. You can guess where. Right, so they've landed here, right where the Gaunts are. So there's a lot of Gaunts, but don't expect there to be many left after Ben's finished. But Drago and the Librarian and the Paladins have landed right here. Dreadnought here as well. So moving about all over the place in this Psychic Phase. That's the most amount of Psychic powers I've ever seen cast in a game of Warhammer 40,000. So that's the Psychic Phase done. We're going to go on to shooting now for the Grey Knights on turn 2. There's quite a lot to get through. Right, so shooting for the Grey Knights on turn 2. One wound dealt out here on the Tervagon. Ben got a snap fire hit with the Vindicator Assassin, very skillful. And then just 2 casualties on the Gaunts here. Just being granted this Shrouded, and it's helping them out a lot. And over here, 1 wound dealt out on the Hive Tyrant. He's not grounded, so he's passed. He's still flying, taking 1 wound there. And that is about it. Carnifex is taking quite a lot of hits, but passing them, 4+ for their cover, and then Shrouded again. So that is helping, although this Tyranid force is definitely on the back foot. So we're going to go on to assaults now. Charges for the Grey Knights. The Dreadnought has made it in, and the Gaunts reacting, and then we've just got this ongoing combat here as well. Right, it's just doing the combats here. 3 Gaunts brought down at no damage in return, but we're in synapse range. So that continues. He's bogged down there, the Dreadnought. And then just here, we're going to do our attacks. It's going to be 4 attacks each times 4. So a nice lot of Wrens this time, and we can make an impact on this game. It's 4s to hit. That's below average. That's a lot below average. 6 6s would be nice. 2 6s. So 2 invuln saves that Ben needs to make, and he's fouled both. It's 2 more wounds on the Dreadnought. That's very good result there for the Tyranids. So Ben's just going to strike back now. Needing 4s. And you got 1 hit. And if he gets a 1, the Tyranids will cheer. No, a 5. So another Ravener brought down, but in exchange for 2 wounds on the Dreadnought, so the Tyranids will take that. They're happy with that, and then within synapse again, so they'll continue. The Dreadnought's being tied up and being wounded as that combat goes on. So that's the end of the turn. It's Tyranid turn 2 coming up. We're going to need something really good to happen if we're going to change the shape of this game. just going to roll up now for reserves coming on. The Hive Chrome is on. The Morlock we desperately want on. Yes, and the Trigon, no. So the Morlock is on. Right, moving for the Tyranids on turn 2. The combat continues there. Spawn of Cryptus moving up through the terrain and looking to get into combat there. 1, 2 Venom Thropes moving up 5 inches each. Carnifex is moving up 6 inches, and the Gaunt's moving through, the other Venom Thrope, and then the Tervagon backing off. Some free wounds there, just trying to avoid Drago. Winged Hive Tyrant moving up and over. Vector Strike, but Ben passed all of his invuln saves. The combat continues there with the Gaunts. And then a good move from the Tyranids and First Blood. First unit to die, the Vindicator Assassin, was Vector Striked and killed. And then the Morlock trying to land on here, scattered 8 inches over. So that's a good turn up there. Good move from the Hive Crone. Going to go on to the Psychic phase now for the Tyranids on turn 2. Right, so Psychic phase for the Tyranids. Psychic Scream cast down here, but Ben passed. Rolled 10, plus 2 is 12, but Ben passed 2 invuln saves there. He's doing well with these invuln rolls. And then we tried to cast the Horror over to that unit there and pin them down, but we failed to manifest that power. So that's the Psychic phase done. Shooting phase now for the Tyranids on turn 2. Right, shooting for the Tyranids on turn 2. Tentaclids hit, but Ben evaded there. Just ran 2 inches with the Morlock, and then we ran 7 here with the Winged Hive Tyrant. Locked in combat here, and then just coming around the other side, 6 inches ran with the Tervagon, just getting into cover. Gaunts moving forwards, Venom Thrope moving forwards here, and then the Carnifex is moving forwards down the corridor there, 3 inches. We're going to go on to Assaults now. Right, so Assaults then, the Spawn of Cryptus is in. He's made it into combat with the Dread Knights. A bit of support there for the Raveners. We'll see if we can make an impact on the game. We're on Assaults here. Going to fight these Raveners first. They go first. Now we're going to bring down this Dreadnought. That'll be good news. 3 of them. That's 12 attacks. Need 4s. That's good. That's above average. 3 6s would be nice. 2 6s, load of 5s. 2 6s, 2 invuln saves to make. He's on his last wound.
Dead.
He's dead. The Dreadnought is gone. Celebration goes up if Tyranids are able to celebrate. But that Dreadnought's been removed. It's a point there, and one of those big nasty things removed. Right, so combat results there. 3 Gaunts killed, but they'll just stay where they are. No damage done on that Dreadnought. And then a good turn up there for the Tyranids. 1 Dreadnought brought down. Ben's saying he thinks it's the first time we've managed to kill one in any of our games, so it's good going. From the Raveners there, they've justified themselves being in the list. They've backed off there, and the Spawn of Cryptus has backed off there. So we're going to go on to the new turn for the Grey Knights. It's turn 3 now, as we approach the halfway stage of the game. Alright, so Grey Knight movement on turn 3. Grey Knight Terminators moving up down the corridor here. And then the Storm Raven gunship moving up right into the centre of the table. Then locked in combat here. And then the Paladins and Drago and the Librarian. Looks like they're closing in for the kill on the Gaunts. And then round here, the Grey Knight Terminators have moved out in this direction to claim that objective. Going to go on to Psychic phase now for the Grey Knights on turn 3. Right, so Psychic phase for the Grey Knights, loads of stuff going on. Terminator squad over here, got Hammer Hand and Force, but we denied Force. I thought that'd be important. Then Invisibility, Force and Hammer Hand, and Hallucination for this squad here, which put -1 onto the Hive Tyrant.
So weapon skill, attacks.
Weapon skill, ballistic skill and attacks, oh dear. Then Hammer Hand and Force on the Dreadnought, and then Hammer Hand and Force for the Grey Knight Terminators here. Loads of psychic powers being manifested for the Grey Knights. Again, going to go on to shooting phase now on turn 3. Right, so shooting for the Grey Knights on turn 3. Firing here, no damage done. 1 wound dealt out though from the Storm Raven. You got a snap shot hit. And that is about it. Firing from the Terminators here, no damage done on the Morlock. So we're going to go into assaults now. Drago and the Paladins are going to charge in to the Gaunts. And that is be about it. Alright, so assaults, bit of a surprise here. Ben rolled an 11, so he's made it into contact with the Tervagon, so that monstrous creature is doomed. And then over here, it's an easy charge in the Paladins, Drago and the Librarian have charged into the Gaunts. So expect a mopping up action from the Grey Knights here, as we're going to get these combats resolved. Alright, assaults on turn 3 for the Grey Knights. They really have descended on the Tyranids here with a vengeance. The Grey Knight Terminators killed the Tervagon, and the Backlash killed 5 of the Gaunts. 1 left, and they've the Terminators have consolidated just onto the ruin corner here. And then, despite all of those attacks, 4 Gaunts have survived, and that melee continues just there. So we're going on to Tyranid turn 3. It's desperate now for the Tyranids. Some units left on the table, but it's going to be desperate stuff. We're going to go on to turn 3 for the Tyranids. Right, so Tyranid turn 3, and there's been a reaction here to the Grey Knights. So both Carnifex, or that Carnifex brood moving up through the gap here. We're going to go after this Terminator squad. All 3 Venom Thropes hanging around. 1 Gaunt just moving off into the ruins there. The Spawner Cryptus just moving in support, and the Raveners bursting forwards towards that position 12 inches. Coming across here, we're just going to leave this area. We can't deal with that, so we're just going to move away, let the Gaunts fend for themselves. Hive Crone moving out and across, going to fire the last 2 Tentaclids at the flyer there, and then the Winged Hive Torrent 24 inches is going to go after the Grey Knight Terminator squad just over here. So going on to shooting Psychic Phase now on turn 3 for the Tyranids. The idea is as Ben's force gets cut down a bit smaller, there are 6 objectives on the table. If we can spread to most of them and cut his units down, then he'll not be able to get to every objective, and we might be able to do it by spreading around the table. We've got to deal with some of these units first, and if we can cut the army down to about that size, there's some chance we could actually try and snatch victory. Right, so that's the Psychic Phase done. We tried to cast Psychic Scream here and failed. Right, shooting phase for the Tyranids, not much going on. Venom Thrope just moving here, and then the last Gaunt just moving through and landing on the objective on the other side. Spawner Cryptus just moving through a couple of inches as well. It's really assaults that we're looking at. Got to take on this Terminator squad. If we can beat them, then that'd be really good. Last 2 Tentaclid shots, Ben evaded, and then we got 1 shot through, but rolled a 1, so no damage with a haywire result there. So we're going to go on to assaults now on turn 3 of the Tyranids. Combats here, the Raveners have made it in, and the 2 Carnifexes. No damage taken as we went in, using cover saves provided by the Venom Thropes. So no damage done. This is the Tyranid speciality as the Carnifexes smash their way through. So we're going to go on to assaults now. We've got to bring down this Terminator squad, and then we've got some chance of trying to rescue this game. Right, so combat results here. 3 Terminators gone. 1 of the Raveners gone, and 1 of the Carnifexes brought down. So it's sort of a fair exchange between the units there, but not too bad for the Tyranids. We've half destroyed the unit. And then on the other combat, they made short work of the Gaunts there. Paladins just consolidating 1 inch, and then 6 inches consolidated by the Dread Knight. So that marks the end of turn 3 for the Tyranids. They are looking thin on the ground now as well. So there's still some units around. There's a slight chance. We still think we're in it here. Still got the Trigon to come on. But Grey Knight's definitely dominating and definitely causing a lot of casualties. Look, Tyranid casualties building up here. So we're going to go on to turn 4 for the Grey Knights. Right, Grey Knight turn 4. Stormraven here, still stunned. because it evaded. Just moving up the table here. Just moving 18 inches, staying in, just zooming here. Combat ongoing on this side of the table. Paladins moving out, and the Dread Knight moving out as well. And then the Terminators claiming the objective now on this side of the table as well. I think really the big focus, the big key is to defeat this Terminator unit. And that knocks the number of units in his force right down. But we'll see how it goes. We're going to go on to Psychic phase now. There'll be a lot of stuff, no doubt, on turn 4 for the Grey Knights. Ben's just rolling up here. It's Hammer Hand and Force on the Dread Knight. We're going to let that go. We want to stop Force over here. So we're going to throw all of our dice to stop him. This Drago squad have got Force and Hammer Hand. Ridiculous number of dice that he gets here. But it's working. Small Force, but about the most elite Force I've ever seen. He's given him Force and Invisibility. That's a blessing that's been cast over. So it's going to be hard to wheedle them out. It's Invisibility, Shrouding, and Hammer Hand and Force on this unit here. So they're hyped up, the last two guys, as they try and survive. Ben's just shooting here. He hasn't done any damage to the Flying Hive Tyrant. Sort of flying around. I don't know whether we're going to come down. He's got Force weapons there. We don't want to concede, slay the Warlords. So we've got to be careful about how we go about this one. You may swing the Hive Crone round. Both the Terminator units are trying to get rid of. This one here. And then this one over here as well. If those two can go, then there's some chance for us claiming objectives by spreading out across the table. Right, so shooting phase here for the Grey Knights. Really annoying, to be honest. Yeah, firing down here. 2 missiles fired down. Got a snap hit. We failed cover save on a 1, so one of the Venom ropes has gone. Load of shooting coming through from the Paladins. 1 wound dealt out on the Spawn of Cryptus, but again that shrouding really helping out. Good cover saves being granted here. That's the shooting done. No other damage dealt out. So we're going to go on to assaults now on turn 4 for the Grey Knights. Right, so combat's here, trying to charge the Dread Knight in 5 inches, half an inch short, so he doesn't make it into combat with the Spawn of Cryptus, thankfully. And then the ongoing combat just here. So we're just going to get this one resolved, and it'll be the end of turn 4 for the Grey Knights. Right, so that combat's done. The Carnifex was brought down, instant death with a Force rule, but in synapse range. So we'll continue in the melee there. That marks the end of turn 4 for the Grey Knights. Going to go into Tyranid turn 4. This Venom Thrope's moving off towards the objective just there. Then the Spawn of Cryptus moving out of cover, ready to charge in against the Terminators, and he's been accompanied by one of the Venom Thropes as well. Then we Vector Striked here and killed one of the Paladins at strength 8. And then coming across, we Vector Striked again with the Winged Hive Tyrant and killed one of the Terminators, so that's quite effective. Very happy with that result in the movement phase. And then Deep Striked the Trigon here. So we're not going to give up here, we're going to carry on. Picking off figures like this will be good for the Tyranids. We're going to go on to Psychic phase now, see what we can do. A nice result with a Psychic Scream would be good. Right, so Psychic phase here, we put all our energy into the Psychic Scream, but Ben rolled 4 6s, was it? Loads. 6 sixes, so denied that power. The psychic dominance is definitely with the Grey Knights on this table. They're everywhere. Even if you can't see them, you can feel their presence, as Darth Vader would say. So we're gonna go on to shooting now for the Tyranids on turn 4. Right, shooting phase done. We fired here, got 3 hits, 3 wounds, but he's passed all his armour save there. And then a run move, just 3 inches in with the Venom Throat moving across into the corner of the building now. And that is about it for shooting. So it's assaults now. I'm going to try and pull these units into here. It's a last ditch attempt to rid the flank here of the Terminators. And that is about it. Right, so combat's there. Spawner Cryptus was killed, and then the Ravener ran off the table, and then the Venom Throat's fallen back here, and the victorious Grey Knight Terminators moving out towards that 3-point objective. So that's gone well for the Grey Knights, and it's a down turn in this game for the Tyranids. So that marks the end of turn 4 for the Tyranids. We're going to go on to Grey Knight turn 5 coming up. Right, moving on to turn 5 for the Grey Knights. Gone into hover mode here with the Storm Raven. Terminator's quite happy to sit on the objective. The Dread Knight jumping up and over to finish off the Gaunt on the other side. Then Drago and his unit moving out across the terrain here, and then the Terminators crowding the objective as well. Quite straightforward movement now. Yeah, just noticed, just remembered, objective just here, so Drago and his unit holding that objective. So one objective held there, one there, looks like that one's going to be claimed as well, and then that one claimed is sitting on 4 objectives. Tyranids not really secured any. Psychic phase coming up now as the Grey Knights look set for a sure victory. Spencer's just doing his psychic stuff here, Force and Hammer Hand on here. We tried to stop Force, but we failed. And then Force and Hammer Hand on the Dread Knight over there. He's given Force and Hammer Hand to everything. Okay, apart from the Storm Raven, obviously. Is that it? That's done. Psychic phase done. Shooting phase coming up. Right, shooting for the Grey Knights on turn 5. The Venom Throat's gone. He died. Was taken out by the las cannon. No damage done across here. The Venom Throat survived his cover saves, the one that's just under the ruin, just in there. And then 5 cover saves passed by the Gaunt just on the other side. So that's shooting done. 1 wound as well, coming up from the Paladins here, hitting the Hive Crone. Right, then assaults, the Dread Knight charged into the Gaunt just here, and he was killed, and he's consolidated onto the objective there. So objective being held here, and here, and here, and over there. So really, the heart has been ripped out of this Tyranid force. The Grey Knights dominate the table, it's undeniable. We're going to go on to turn 5. Tyranids are going to let out a last gasp here, and then we may well consider just calling the game at an end there. We'll see what happens. We're going to go on to Tyranid turn 5 now. Last ditch attempt to salvage some kind of result in this game. Alright, moving for the Tyranids very quick. There's only 4 things left on the table for us. Just moving over here, Vector Strike, and we killed one of the Grey Knight Terminators here. Then just moving in with the Trigon. Venom Throat's going to do a suicide charge. He's just moving out there to charge the Dread Knight, and then Vector Striking with the Hive Crone moving up and over, but no damage on the Grey Knight Terminators there. We've done some casualties, but just not enough to stop them. Going to go on to Psychic phase now on turn 5 for the Tyranids. Right, so Psychic phase, we tried to do Psychic Scream, Ben denied it. Then on to shooting, we fired up here, caused a wound, Ben rolled a 1 and lost another Terminator, fouled morale on a 12 and has fallen back down there. So that's a good turn up there, now holding that objective. And then coming across here, Hive Crone didn't do any damage with the just firing the draw cannon there. So going to go on to charges now, the suicide charge from the Venom Throat on the other side there, and then we'll try and smash through the ruin here and reach those Grey Knight Terminators. Let's see if the Trigon's up for it. If If he rolls quite well, 7 will not be enough. And then the Venom Throat charging in, he makes it into combat. Right, so combat results, the Venom Throat killed before it even made it in to combat. So that marks the end of turn 5. I think we will concede. We'll roll to see if the game continues. Ben can roll. We'll see if there would have been another turn. Number 2. The game finishes anyway. Okay, it's ended. We're going to work out points here. Looks like a clear victory again for the Grey Knights. Right, so objective here held by the Tyranids. And then they got first blood, that's 4 points. No line breaker though, so just 4 points. And we killed a heavy, yes, so that's 5 points for killing the Dread Knight as well. Then for Grey Knights, we'll do line breaker, 1 point. Objectives, 1, 2, 3, that's 9. 10 for line breaker. 2 kind effects. Morlock. Yeah, Morlock's off the table. Counts as destroyed, yeah. So, on 9 points for objectives, line breaker, and then 3 points for heavies. That's 12, 13 points in total. So 13 points to 5. So clear victory for the Grey Knights. Well deserved. Very elite force. I mean, couldn't even really touch that formation in the centre. All we could do was avoid it. Tyranids didn't do too bad, but this list doesn't really stand much of a chance against the dreaded Grey Knights. Victory to Ben. Units of the game, we would say, okay, yeah, regular Terminators. When they're souped up with psychic powers, they are a force to be reckoned with. And then for us, I think we're going to give it to the Raveners. Fast moving, took out a Dread Knight, and then they took out half a Terminator squad. So, yeah, we'll give it to them. Although Tyranid forces didn't particularly do too well in this game. But it's victory to Ben in this Challenger Scorpion game. His Grey Knights continue their rampage. They've knocked the Dark Elder down twice. They've knocked the Tyranids down twice. Who will be their next victim? We'll have to wait and see. There is another army lined up to fight them. Tune in next time and see if Ben can continue his march to the top. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time.